Good morning, YouTubers. This is going to be a quick video on my Jeep XJ. I had a problem with it that kind of fixed itself, and that leaves me a little suspicious. The only experience I've had where stuff fixes itself in a car is when you turn the radio up. I got this thing about 5 years ago. I've put about 15,000 miles on it. It's got the 4.0. It's a year 2000. When I first got it, I wanted to go through and be good on like safety and reliability, that kind of stuff. So I went through brakes and steering, suspension, swapping out all the fluids. One of the fluids changes that really did a lot for it was when I did the coolant flush. I did a real good coolant flush, back flushing the heater core, all that kind of stuff, and that made a heck of a big difference. I kind of get the impression these things don't really like the hot weather. The only things I've really done on that besides mechanical, the only, cosmetics has been, I did do Raptor bed liner on a majority of it. I put in some custom seat covers where I literally had to get the material off of eBay and send it out to a company that did it. Upgraded the stereo, minor stuff like that. Anyway, one of the problems I did have with this when I got it, and I mean, let me first preface that by saying this has been a very reliable vehicle. That straight six is a heck of an engine, man. It just keeps on going. But I did notice a lot of problems with sensors, the electronic sensors in the thing. It is a 20-year-old car, and electronics can be a little bit delicate, particularly down here. I'm in the south, and it gets hot down here. So I did swap out crankshaft position sensors, camshaft position sensor, just a whole bunch of sensors, oil sending unit, that kind of stuff. Now, and it's kind of with that oil sending unit that this problem comes in, because all of a sudden everything was running good, and then all of a sudden the oil pressure gauge inside, the idiot gauge, started going Tharn on me. It was just all over the place. It wasn't showing a check engine light, but it just wasn't doing right. And it wasn't pegging high like you usually expect on one of these things when one of those goes bad. So I replaced that. That did not fix it. It was still going Tharn. Took it down to Pat. He runs the automotive shop that takes care of all of our stuff on the at the shop, all our vehicles down there. He went through it. He was baffled also as to what was happening. He actually had somebody come in from a Chrysler dealer, and they checked continuity on all the wires. Everything seemed to be good there. The only suggestion he could come up with for me was that maybe the computer was going Tharn. Replace the computer. That didn't fix it. So then, wanting to know what was going on, wanting to at least make sure that I had good blood pressure, oil pressure in there, I went ahead and put a gauge on it, a mechanical gauge, and tested it, a test gauge, and it showed fine. I had good pressure. Everything was good. Well, I wanted to know what my pressure was. I didn't want to have one that wasn't working inside that I could at least see if all of a sudden I had a problem in there. So I went ahead and I put in a mechanical gauge, so I would at least know what I had going on in here. Well, that went on for about 6 months. Then all of a sudden, she started going Tharn again, stalling out a little and whatnot, and was giving the signs of the camshaft position sensor going bad. But that thing only had like 3,000 miles, not even 3,000 miles, because I only average about 2,500 miles on this thing every year. So I took it again down to Pat. He tested the camshaft position sensor, and it read okay. It was doing all right. But he said he went ahead and he changed the camshaft position synchronizer. Now, I don't know if this is going to show up on this camera, but you can see camshaft position sensor and what's underneath it, this big rod stem going down in, just like it used to be under your distributor cap. That's the synchronizer. And as long as we're here, and again, I don't know if it'll show up, see how this is how I plumbed it in so I could have both the factory oil pressure gauge and the gauge inside. Anyway, to make a long story short, when he replaced the camshaft position synchronizer, that fixed not only the stalling problem, but it fixed the problem with the oil pressure gauge inside. And nobody, and I've asked a lot of people, seems to have any idea of why this might be. So I was kind of hoping some of you guys out there might have run into something like this before, could maybe help me out. I'm just curious as I'll get out on this one, and I'd kind of like to know. So that's about it. If any of you guys have run into this before, or you're having a similar problem, maybe this can help out. But if you have run into this, or if you have an idea of why the heck this happened, I would love to hear it. If so, you can hit me back in the comment section and help out on that. Thanks, guys.